It's Sunday, July 20, 2025. Good afternoon. You're welcome to Weekend Central Live here on TV3. The bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 279. We are streaming across the world on Facebook at TV3 Ghana, where your thoughts and comments are welcome. My name is Godwin Asidiba.
And I am Judith Brown. Kamna Bulletin this afternoon. Kamna this afternoon, as the Director General of the National Cybersecurity Authority, Divine Selassie Agbeti, is suspended for 2 weeks after he was seen with military guard. We'll explore whether the suspension is adequate.
Also coming up, you find them at almost every bus stop in town, loading commercial vehicles, otherwise known as trotros in Ghana. This afternoon, we will tell you more on how that is helping them make a living.
And later in the bulletin, President Mahama advocates for massive investments in strategic infrastructure across the African continent to fully unlock the potential of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
Welcome to the program. The Minister of Health, Kwabena Mensah-Nkador, has announced the commencement of payments to clear outstanding salary arrears owed to 321 pharmacist house officers who completed their training in 2024. He was speaking when his ministry took its stand at Government Accountability Series on Friday, July 18.
We have taken decisive steps to clear the salary arrears for 321 pharmacist house officers who completed training in 2024, with payment now being processed, while 1,621 qualified pharmacists await permanent employment. We are prioritizing their recruitment as part of strengthening our health workforce. This is just one example of our broader commitment to clearing the backlog across all health worker cadres, ensuring every qualified professional has the chance to serve and strengthen Ghana's health system.
Dr. Emmanuel Owusu Oriafe is the National Chairman for Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association of Ghana, and he's joining us for a further conversation on this. Thank you so much for your time. The arrears owed to 321 pharmacists, houses officers who completed their training in 2024 was one concern you raised with us weeks ago. Are you satisfied with this being addressed?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me. Yes, we are very much satisfied with that. But in fact, for the records, that particular clearance was for the 2020, pharmacy batch 20 of 2022. Whose clearance was in delay. And in fact, we are very grateful to the Honorable Minister for achieving that feat for us. So it was actually for a batch that had completed, actually 2 years ago. But we are so much grateful for that. And we can confirm that, yes, indeed, that clearance, yes, has been done, and they are finalizing their biometrics to ensure that the full payment is completed. We are hopeful by the end of July that payment will be fully effected.
Right. Another issue Gospel raised had to do with the recruitment of 1,621 qualified pharmacists currently awaiting permanent employment. The minister says government is working to have them recruited. Is that the process been so far?
Yes, very well. So far, it has got to do with, still is the promise. And we are also grateful for the fact that the minister, sector minister, indicated that they are prioritizing, the recruitment of the 1,621 pharmacists. But we want that, that prioritization to be more effectively done so that as early as possible, we can have the results, of it. Yes, we are talking about it being prioritized, but if we want the assurance from the minister that the 1,625 pharmacists and other pharmaceutical care providers will be part of the mid-year budget review that is coming on. And to address the situation, you see, we talked on the fact that this situation is actually very dire because pharmaceutical services provision in the country is being compromised. We've talked about the fact that there are very few pharmacists and other care providers who are actually providing pharmaceutical care, and there is increased workload on the existing staff. People are burning out, and there is reduced efficiency, and this has to be really addressed. And the fact that there is also delay in medication dispensing, even verification of patient folders, etc., is leading to increased patient waiting times in the various, hospitals and facilities across the country. And then we are also very concerned about the weakened clinical pharmacy services that is affecting, patient medication safety and treatment outcomes across the various facilities in the country. So we want Honorable Minister to indeed, yes, beyond the prioritization, assure us that recruitment of pharmacists will be effected in the mid-year budget review, and that will be the most, welcoming news, for us as members of the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association.
Right. One of the things you're calling for is the immediate clearance and postings of the 641 inducted pharmacist house officers for 2025. How has discussions on that been with the Health Ministry?
At the induction of our junior colleagues, the Health Minister did indicate that they are working on it, and that is one of the things we are calling for. For now, there is a deficiency, there is a huge gap in the service provision. We had about 336 house officers who left 2 months ago. That we actually even engaged the media on, etc. And there is this vacancy of these 641 pharmacists qualified, duly inducted. And you see there is that, service provision gap. The onus is respectfully on the Minister of Finance to also give financial clearance. And you see, what is pitiable now is that these house officers have sat, at home for 8 months now. Imagine completing, completing your education, writing your professional exams, passing, ready to render care, and for 8 months down the line, you are unable to have your housemanship simply because financial clearance has not been given. And that is what we are kindly calling on, particularly the Minister of Finance. These house officers are ready to serve and they are home. And you see, the point is that until they are even done with this housemanship, they are not permanent, members, permanently registered pharmacists, where they can even practice independently, etc. And so it is also kind of creating a lot of inconvenience for them, as well as even the tolling effects it is having on pharmaceutical care provision. And so, Honorable Minister, working hand in hand with the Finance Minister, we are kindly imploring on them. Let this financial clearance be given so service provision can go on smoothly.
This indeed should be very challenging for you and your members. But thank you so much for helping us understand this. And I have been engaging Dr. Emmanuel Owusu Owiafe, who is the National Chairman, Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association of Ghana.
In other news this afternoon, the Director General of the National Cybersecurity Authority, NCSA, Divine Selassie Adbeti, has been suspended for 2 weeks following a formal query from the Office of the President and a subsequent directive from the Minister for Communications. While the suspension stems from an ongoing investigation into alleged misconduct involving the use of a uniformed military officer as a personal bodyguard at an event organized by the MP for Ho West, Emmanuel Bejra. Well, according to the presidency, the act has drawn public backlash and caused significant embarrassment to the government. While in an official letter dated July 15, 2025, Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama, wrote on behalf of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama expressing grave concern over the conduct of the NCSA Director General. Addressed to the Minister for Communications, the letter raised alarm over the Director General's use of a uniformed military officer who lacked the required clearance as a personal attaché during public engagements. Of particular concern was a widely circulated image published across traditional and social media showing the uniformed officer standing directly behind the Director General while he delivered a public address. According to the President, the image creates a false impression of the official military endorsement and undermines the clear lines of authority and decorum expected in public service. Now, we do some more stories still on this particular issue because during the week, the Minister of Defense, Dr. Amane Boama, reiterated that the Ghana Armed Forces will withdraw all military personnel assigned to provide protection for private individuals and government appointees who are not officially entitled to such services. Explaining the directive to the media during a working visit to some military installations, the minister stated that not even the governor of the Bank of Ghana requires military protection.
Let us enforce the discipline that governs the Ghana Armed Forces. If you have not been deployed by your commander, you don't move. You understand? So it's as simple as that. Don't go and provide guard duties or any other services that you have not been legitimately deployed for. You'll be dealt with. Individual civilians are not entitled unless the Ghana Armed Force itself has, based on very good reasons, has said that, okay, for this and that, this is what must happen. That is completely different from, let's say, Bank of Ghana. That will require the presence of the Ghana Armed Forces to perform certain functions for the institution. That is different from other institutions that will require for it. But I don't expect you to see the governor of the Bank of Ghana and a uniformed military officer is a bodyguard.
We're going to stay on this issue and speak to a security analyst, Adib Sani. He's joining us with more details on this. Adib, good afternoon to you. But first, tell us, do you agree with those who say that we need more clarity on this issue as regards to the suspended Director General as to really who the immediate boss of the soldier is and when this particular issue actually happened?
Well, I think it's straightforward because the Ghana Armed Forces say no clearance was given to the said soldier. So rather, we would need to know from the Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority how he got the officer to provide guard services to him. And the officer would also have to be spoken to. And it is not new. This is something that was pro-maxed in the past administration, where even lawyers were moving with soldiers holding their bags. The military, I must say, is one of the most important institutions we have in this country. And the fact that this government, as part of its research agenda, has decided to issue a statement, which is quite emphatic, that, look, all the military men be withdrawn. I would expect that all appointees adhere strictly to the directive. Right. The fact that it was done yesterday, Judith, doesn't mean it should continue today. And this is something that those of us within the security space have been speaking about for some time now. And I'm particularly excited that this administration has decided to take the lead to withdraw the soldiers from these appointees.
Right. And if you could tell us, in your capacity as a security analyst, what really are the security implications for the nation of the unauthorized use of ununiformed men in public settings?
Well, in the past, I have stated categorically that when we do that, we are downgrading the military. We are civilianizing the military, okay? We are making them interact day to day, and that is not how to go about it. It's a very respectable institution, and I've also always stated that the military doesn't have to be feared. It has to be respected, and that is what we expect from the military. Unfortunately, for years on end, we even saw soldiers providing guard services to even celebrities. And I keep wondering, was it officially sanctioned? But my investigation, most of it is not sanctioned. So I'm very happy that this government has decided, like I said, to take the lead, to issue this directive, and I hope that everybody would adhere to it.
Now, how would you say that this particular action affects public trust in broader government institutions?
Well, I think rather, sometimes misfortunes happen to bring a lot of fortunes. What this administration has done is quality, top-notch accountability, okay? In the past, within the civil society space, I've spoken even about someone like Madame Jean Mensah, who moved with a military entourage. I have been to events she's attended to, but nobody listens to us. But this administration is saying, look, enough is enough. So rather, the action of this government is going to restore a lot of public trust and confidence in the military. But it will be very highly dependent on how these appointees take it, and of course, adherence to those rules. And so far, I must say, it has been exceptionally progressive, but for the Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority.
On the issue of adherence, before you go, how do you think, or what protocols do you think should be put in place to ensure that public officials actually adhere to this directive?
This move by the government is one giant step in the right direction. And like I said, this is accountable governance, okay? You just don't talk, you act. We said stop, you didn't stop, so we are suspending you for 2 weeks. I don't think that I never thought that during my lifetime, I would witness such accountability. And I think that is enough to get people to understand that, hey, this government means business, and if you do the wrong thing, you are going to be held to account. As simple as that.
Right, many thanks for your time. Adib Sani is a security analyst. He has been speaking to us on a number of issues as regards to the suspended Director General for the the Cybersecurity Department right here in Ghana. Of course, this has been an issue that has been trending for quite a while. He was given a public address with a military person behind him, although there was a directive for them not to use these military personnel in public settings, and this was the reason why he was suspended. We heard from Adib Sani on his reactions to this particular issues, but we have more stories for you, Godwin.
Absolutely. The Ghana Armed Forces is grappling with an accommodation deficit of about 17,000 housing units, according to the Military High Command. Our Defense and Security correspondent, Joseph Armstrong Gold-Alogbe reports, even though construction of several housing units started since 2014, they have been abandoned and taken over by squatters.
At Biakro Barracks in Themamahian is sited a 32-unit, two-bedroom apartment block. It is one of the several housing projects started in 2014 to provide accommodation for personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces, particularly the Navy. More than a decade later, the project remains incomplete, abandoned, and now occupied by squatters. The housing deficit is impacting troops' mobilization for emergency operations and undermining overall military effectiveness. On Thursday, July 17, the Minister for Defense, Dr. Edward Omane-Boama, toured some of the abandoned sites. He expressed concern and pledged to prioritize the completion of military infrastructure projects.
The deficit is almost 17,000 housing units for the entire Ghana Armed Forces across the country. And we are very, very committed to ensuring that a major dent is achieved over the next 3.5 years. there are several options that we are looking at. And it will be a combination of completing the abandoned housing initiatives over the years.
Dr. Buama also announced that the government, under President John Dramani Mahama's leadership, plans to construct 10,000 housing units for the armed forces within the next 3 years.
We will ensure that whilst we work towards having new ones, because the deficit is 17,000, we also aggressively work to complete the existing ones.
With the housing crisis deepening and many projects left in limbo, the Defense Ministry says action will speak louder than promises. Joseph Armstrong, Good Alba TV3, Tema.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama is advocating massive investment in strategic infrastructure across the African continent, particularly transport networks and digital connectivity, to fully unlock the potential of the African Continental Free Trade Area after agreement. He made these remarks during a courtesy call by Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of AFTA Secretariat, at the Jubilee House.
As we speak today, there are 49 countries that have ratified the agreement, which is a very, very strong demonstration of our leaders' political will and commitment to make sure that this becomes a reality. In terms of implementation, Excellency President, there again we are making steady progress. There are 24 countries that are actively trading. So out of the 49, 24 countries are actively trading using the framework of the AFCFTA. And of course, Ghana is one of them. And Ghana was one of the pilot countries when we started trading 2 years ago. As we speak today, there are close to 5,000 certificates of origin that have been issued across the continent.
I recognize that one of the main obstacles in fully implementing the Continental Free Trade Area is the lack of trade infrastructure between our countries in terms of railways, in terms of even roads, the quality of roads between our countries. And that's why I think that looking at the AU NEPAD, Committee on Infrastructure will be important to see how as sub-regions we can improve the movement of goods between ourselves and between the sub-regions. In West Africa, our most iconic project will be the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. And if that is done, because indeed the volume of trade in that corridor is the highest. And so if we're able to put in the corridor and then eventually, extend it all the way to Dakar, it will create, a corridor that allows us to exchange goods seamlessly. But one of the major facilitators will be the Pan-African Payments and Settlement System. I mean, we're all waiting for that is fully operational so that it will ease, the financial transactions between our countries instead of all the.
John Dramani Mahama on Saturday, July 19, announced that plans are far advanced to commission work towards another sea defense project that will cover the rest of the coastal communities in the Volta region. This project, according to the president, will be under the West Africa Coastal Areas Resilient Investment Program, known as WACA. President John Dramani Mahama announced this during a sword-cutting event at Agaveji for the commencement of work on the Phase 2 of the Blekusu Sea Defense Project.
I wish to inform you also that the WACA project is currently awaiting approval at the Ministry of Environment. The WACA project will take care of the rest of the coastline after where this one ends, all the way to Aflao, and it will have it will help to protect the coastline all the way to Aflao. It will have beach replenishment, and so the beaches will be expanded and the sea will be pushed back so that we can have more activity.
Let's do some more stories now. Government says a lot has been achieved over the past few months in the fight against illegal mining, also known as galamsey. With government yet to declare a state of emergency in areas affected by the menace, calls have intensified in some quarters for more military involvement. There's more in this report. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine during the week directed the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, to investigate national organizer of the National Democratic Congress, Joseph Yamin, and third national vice chairman of the NDC, Abanga Yakubu Al-Hassan, over allegations of engaging in illegal mining. Both Joseph Yamin and Abanga Yakubu Al-Hassan have denied engaging in the illegal mining activities.
I have never been involved in any illegal mining activity at any point in my life or behind any task force. These allegations are baseless, malicious, and calculated attempts to tarnish my heart and reputation. I'm ready to cooperate fully with IOCO or any legal mandated investigative body. I, Abanga Yakubu Al-Hassan, will put my position in line, the vice chairman position. If anybody is able to confirm that he has given me money based on forming task forces with Honorable Joseph Yamin to extort money from them, and that they brought me money, or I'm engaged in the destruction of our water bodies and the forest reserve in galamsey activities.
Speaking on the key points, Minister for Government Communications Felix Kwachofuzu says Ghana has seen improvements in the fight against illegal mining under the Mahama administration. He indicated that President Mahama has restated his commitment to the galamsey fight.
Significant work has gone in. And indeed, I can tell you for free that between the time we came to power and now, 518 people have been arrested for engaging in galamsey. 518. In fact, 246 excavators have been seized. Some of them have been burnt. There are some who have expressed misgivings about that approach. Yeah. If you are seen involved in it, you will be arrested and prosecuted. So your level or the lack of it won't matter. If there's evidence that you are a kingpin, you don't go to the ground to mine yourself, but you are the one basically sponsoring the activity. We will come for you as well.
For private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, the police should be equipped and resourced to handle the illegal small-scale mining.
Equip and maintain the police service for the function. It's a rider. We have not equipped our police service enough. We've not maintained them enough. You see, so so equipment, obviously, body cameras, right, training, etc. You know they have their SWAT team. Sometimes people like the show of force. I mean, see how the police SWAT team looks like. Yes, they also have their muscular, etc. Is that not it? So in terms of the optics, they also fit the billing. So you equip and then you maintain. And most especially, it's accountability.
A leading member of the Convention's People's Party, CPP, Kwame Jantwa, rather wants a ban to be placed on all forms of small-scale mining. This, he argues, will enable those who engage in illegal mining to be dealt with.
I think what should happen, we should ban all small-scale mining for now, and then put it in a much better structure. And for me, people will not stop mining gold, so put it in a form of cooperatives. But it has to be done. We have to be able to clear all the miscreants, because those who have small-scale mining licenses, they do galamsey, don't they?
Kwame Jantwa also called for the arrest and prosecution of all political figures involved in illegal small-scale mining.
We've been going through this galamsey thing for some time. It's getting worse, but we haven't been able to arrest any financier of galamsey. And not until we start looking at those who are financing it, it will continuously go on. For me, I feel, and I keep saying it, and I'll continue saying it, we've got to a point where we should take the bull by the horns, and have an order of shoot to kill. Those politicians who are in galamsey, those other people who finance galamsey, they should all be brought to book.
With government yet to heed to calls to declare a state of emergency in areas affected by illegal mining, doubts remain whether it is truly committed to tackling the illegal mining menace despite the gains made so far. The fight against galamsey is far from over. And it is a hope of Ghanaians that politicians and duty bearers who have been given the mandate by the citizenry will use that mandate to protect the environment for posterity.
Away from illegal mining matters, having a healthy diet is a major hurdle for most Ghanaians owing to the heavy dependence on carbohydrates based on foods and a sedentary lifestyle. For many office workers in Ghana, busy schedule and long commutes are taking a toll on their health because of poor dietary habits driven by convenience and fatigue. Elsie Adu has more in this report.
A sedentary lifestyle fueled by early morning traffic and endless meetings. That's the bane of most Ghanaian workers as they juggle between work and home. By the time most office workers in Ghana sit down for lunch, nutrition is often the last thing on their minds. It's a common struggle. Many 9-to-5 workers rely heavily on processed foods, sugar-filled drinks, or heavy local meals that can leave them sluggish or bloated. Health experts warn that poor eating habits linked to sedentary jobs can increase the risk of diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. A dietitian, Prince Ishmael Dima, says diet is an important part of the working lifestyle.
Good health comes from the food we eat, healthy food we eat, and then productivity comes as a byproduct of the good health. As a clinician, as a dietitian, it is my job to make sure and throw the light out there for Ghanaians to learn and to know productivity is a byproduct of eating well. And therefore, do more veggies and fruits and vegetables, do more water, do more resting, and then take away stress. Whatever stress you, disband it.
But how do workers who are particular about what they eat keep a balanced diet?
I have a specific place that I buy from that I think DS is prepared more under hygienic condition. Yeah, so that's the place I buy from, and they have variety of food like the rice ball, the banku, and other food. So the one you like, then you buy.
In the morning, I try to take in some tea and bread at home before coming. When it is lunch break, I add beverages like sobolo to my meal, and I also add fruits like banana to my meal to balance it.
Experts recommend that office workers stay hydrated, eat lighter meals during work hours, and incorporate physical activity into their daily routines.
In other news this afternoon, every day at busy bus stops, men known as shadow boys help keep things moving. They shout out destinations, help passengers fill seats, and make sure buses fill up quickly. It is not an official job, but for many of them, it is their only way to make a living. There's more in this report.
Voices are their bread. They move hundreds of people every day. These shadow boys at bustling bus stops are human public address systems working from dawn to dusk, hustling to survive.
I am a shadow boy. Then I get money from them. This is what we feed with because we don't have any help. This is what we do to be able to provide for our families.
Their voices rise above the traffic, above the horns and noise, calling, shouting, guiding. But how do they do it? And what role do they really play in keeping Ghana's chaotic transport system running? He calls himself Patupa, a 19-year-old boy who arrives at bus stops by 5 a.m. every day. His job? Shout loudly, pull in passengers, and earn his daily bread. He tells me he makes close to 200 cities on a good day.
I can make like 1.5
passengers and earn his daily bread. He tells me he makes close to 200 cities on a good day.
I can make like 1.5 or 2.1
every day.
If the car is empty and I help you and the passengers come into the car and you get 4, I'll get you 20 Ghana. Yeah.
Cars? They help the passengers get cars.
Oh, I'm a boy,
They help us a lot. They call passengers for us. I stand by my car to direct people into it, and they go and bring the passengers.
To passengers, they are effective middlemen, guiding, informing, even helping with luggage.
You see them shouting, screaming here, so it will alert you to know this is where you locate here the vehicle.
You see how important middlemen are in Zambia. That's how they are. They are really, really important, because if not for them, some things are there. Yes, because we came here, we were looking for a car like he's not a maid, but he's a middleman. He's like a middleman.
The work isn't always smooth. It comes with territorial fights, loud verbal clashes, and stiff competition.
Energy.
While some drivers and mates appreciate their efforts, others see them as a nuisance.
When they finish loading and I don't give them money, they beat me. But I have not employed them too. They will slap your car or even punch you. One has punched me before.
They don't help us in any way. I can do it myself. Look at where he is standing. I can shadow myself.
They help, but not that much, because by all means, the church will get here. Even if they are not here, by all means, the church will get here and you get your car.
Transport expert Dr. Chiadakwa believes that as these shadow boys grow to become vital to the transport ecosystem, they must not be ignored.
They complement to the transportation system. If we recognize them as such, that they are contributing to the transportation comforts, then we should also find a way of trying to put them in a better status.
To some, these shadow boys, they are heroes of archaic truck system. No protection, no contract, just their voice, hope, and they hustle. Perhaps their daily grind is helping to keep the entire truck system afloat. So next time you hear them shout on top of their voices, remember that it's more than demand. Sometimes it's a survival. Noble Crosby and Madina Zungodachi.
Interesting report there, taking us on our very first break. We're still watching Weekend Central. When we're back, we have more news for you. Don't go away.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani. From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani. From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how.
Welcome back. The Ministry for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs through the Institute of Local Government has organized a workshop for lawyers on chieftaincy disputes. The workshop aimed at building the capacity of legal counsels of national and regional House of Chiefs.
The workshop was long overdue, as the legal counsels for the various regional houses of chiefs had not met since their initial orientation in 2014. The primary objective of the workshop was to equip lawyers with the necessary skills to handle chieftaincy disputes effectively. By doing so, the ministry aims to promote peaceful resolution and development in the country. Speaking at the workshop, Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, highlighted the need to resolve the issue of different conditions of service in all 16 regional houses of chiefs.
The essence was to build their capacity, to let them work together, to let them interact with one another, with the ministry, with the Supreme Court justices, and with the Institute of Local Government Studies, for us to know how best we can build their capacity to be able to do away with most of the chieftaincy disputes that we have in the country. Clearly, when we met them, they said this is the first time this workshop is being organized. They don't know each other's conditions of service. So even though they are only 16 or 17 in number, they have different conditions of service. So there are a lot of inconsistencies, contradictions, and disparities. And there are a lot of things that the state should do for them that we have not even started. So they used to sit erratically, but going forward, they are going to be sitting frequently. And we must also take steps to make sure that we give them the needed sitting allowances.
The training is expected to enhance the capacity of lawyers to handle chieftaincy disputes effectively, promoting peaceful resolution and development in the country.
Now, the king of the Igbo community in the Ghana, Eze Jude Chukwudi Ihenetu, has dispelled rumors about the establishment of an Igbo kingdom in Ghana. He clarified that no land has been acquired in Ningo Pram or anywhere in Ghana for such a purpose.
Creating Igbo village, which has never happened in the history of the world among the Igbos in the world.
Addressing concerns raised by a viral video, Eze Indigbo of Ghana, Eze Jude Chukwudi Ihenetu, explained that the idea to build an Igbo village stemmed from a meeting with a Ga chief which never materialized and will not proceed. He accused bloggers of misinterpreting the footage, stressing that no Igbo kingdom is being constructed and calling for calm and peace to prevail.
They said, we want to build Igbo kingdom in Ghana. That is 100% lies. You go back to that video, you see what I said is Igbo village. And the interpretation of village is different from kingdom. We have no any plan to build any kingdom in Ghana. We cannot build kingdom on top of someone's kingdom. It is impossible. As long as I am concerned, I remain loyal to this country, Ghana, and the entire Igbos in Ghana. We are submissive to the authority of this nation. Apologies to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and all the traditional institutions in Ghana for these fake news.
In a strongly worded statement, Eze Ihenetu also called out APC presidential candidate Hassan Ayariga for allegedly branding him a human trafficker.
Hassan Ayariga, who was also painting black of my name, I want to let him know that a leader does not talk like that. You cannot say anything that you have no evidence of it. It is so cheap for him to open his mouth to say, I'm a human trafficker. But I want him to put those things, his evidence together, and the time will come, he will let me know how he's saying that I'm a human trafficker. And you are giving the youth of the nation wrong emotional torture information for them to rise against your fellow African brothers. So my brother, yes, and Ayaruga, be careful of your trances.
He urged Nigerians living in Ghana to respect the laws of the land and avoid engaging in any illegal activities, cautioning that anyone found culpable would face the full force of Ghanaian law.
The Ashanti Regional Office of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission has resolved 730 out of 808 complaints received between January and June 2025. The majority of complaints were directed at the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, which accounted to 760 cases. Richard Siedu is the Ashanti Regional PRO of PRC.
The regional office, through our intervention, were able to do a refund of 65,785.37 for the consumers. These are consumers who lodge complaints against the utility companies in the form of they being overbilled in their various aspects. The Commission within the mid-year 2025 also did recoveries of 114,601.39 for the utility companies. This is in line with the complaints that came to the Commission that through our interventions we were able to collect some revenues for the utility companies. The Commission will also discharge our duty by making sure that all the complaints that are lodged with us are resolved effectively, and we make sure that quality of service with regards to water and electricity is delivered within the Ashanti region and its enclave.
Let's head to the Borno East region, where inadequate resources and deeply rooted societal issues are actively undermining efforts to support victims of abuse, leaving many without the crucial supports they desperately need.
Gender-based violence has been a non-resolved predicament. Research has shown that 1 in every 3 women across the world have experienced one form of violence at least once in their lifetime. However, caring for victims of gender-based violence is even a bigger challenge. According to the Regional Director of Social Welfare, their department is critically under-resourced, crippling their ability to provide comprehensive assistance to victims, exposing them to further harm.
Sometimes you start the process, but somewhere because of the referral processes, it gets to a point and you are stuck. The victim ought to be placed in a facility where he or she will be taken through counseling. And here we are, we don't have even shelter in Borno East here to put the victim there. The police or the DOSU service, they also don't have a shelter. Social welfare has no shelter. And when it comes to court processes, taking the victim from a rehab location to the court back, that is also the cost for those. Professionals are there, the system is there, but mostly the resources like vehicle, shelter, and medical issues are bottlenecks.
The MC for Kintampo South, Wilfred Dewey, equally expressed profound worry over what he termed the shut-up syndrome prevalent in many Ghanaian communities. These enforced silence, coupled with the absence of robust support systems, lead many victims to resort to substance abuse, severe depression, and trauma.
If one is being abused in the house, hardly will him or her come out to confess to the family, because as soon as you open your mouth to mention someone who abused you and the person comes within the family, or the person having a high position in the family, or the person having a high position in the society, your parents will shut you up. don't mention the person's name. So the kind of things, the kind of abuse they receive in their various homes, they become traumatized because they don't have anyone to complain to.
He called for a collective effort to dismantle this culture of silence, urging community members to speak out and support victims. Meanwhile, head of operations at Mihoso International cited these gender-based abuses to economic dependency on male breadwinners.
Women go through emotional abuse sometimes is as a result of they being dependent on male breadwinners, or they are just not able to support in a way. So because of that, they do not have voice. Their voices are silent. They cannot support or contribute to the upbringing of their children, and most especially sometimes their own health.
Let's head to the Ahafo region now, where the Ghana Forestry Commission has embarked on an initiative called Operation Stop Illegal Lumbering. Over 10 trucks have been impounded in the Ahafo region for transporting illegal lumber without certified conveyance documents. The operation is part of efforts to support the president's agenda to reset Ghana. Addressing the media in Bichim in the Ahafo region, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Elekem Kotoko, warned that any Forestry Commission staff found to be involved in illegal lumbering, forging signatures, or issuing illegal conveyance documents will be dealt with.
Yeah, the current state of our vegetation cover, or our forest cover, is not the best, not what it used to be. And if the current situation continues, that will mean that we'll be losing all our forests in just a matter of a decade. And it is not only by reason of the illegal mining, but also through illegal logging. It is by reason of that fact that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in his research agenda, we at the Forestry Commission also need to complement his effort by ensuring that we go after all those who are engaged in this illegal enterprise. Mind you, they do not pay any revenues to tax to government. They do not pay stampage, which means that our chiefs or our landowners, etc., do not make any benefit from the illegal activities they engage in. And this should be reason for worry for everybody, our stakeholders, those watching, the chiefs and traditional authorities. We therefore need to make sure we intensify this exercise, which shall be a regular, a routine exercise, and not just a 9-day wonder. So in this operation, those remains allegations, but if any officer of the Forestry Commission is found culpable in any way related to these enterprises.
Now, in a major development on the energy front, Ghana, the fourth consecutive time, has maintained a stable supply of electricity with no major interruptions reported. According to the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, the national grid has not only stabilized but is now robust. No major interruptions reported. According to the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, not only now it marks a significant milestone in Ghana's energy journey as the country strengthens its position as a regional energy hub.
Additional supply of gas from Nigeria has been secured. The ENI plant, that is the OCTP fields, have also increased gas by about 30 mm-SCF. Jubilee has also increased gas by about 20 mm-SCF. We've secured funding now, and as we get the funding, we hope that we would have consistent supply of fuel, particularly liquid fuels. We are also working with ECG to ensure that they adhere to the cash water flow mechanism. They are currently operating a single treasury account with GCB, where all these funds are accounted for. ECG has also constituted a 4-gang team to attend to outages. I am happy to note, Mr. Speaker, that for the 4th month continuously, we've had stable supply of power. We've stabilized the system and now exporting power to all our neighboring countries.
And that's all we have for you for this afternoon. But make sure you do tune in to TV3 at 2 p.m. for Hot Issues with Kemini and Mano Of course, there's going to be a blasting interview at that time as well. My name is Judith Brown. I've been doing this with...
My name is Godwin Asidiba, and for more news updates as well, kindly log on to www.3news.com. We'll see you same time next week, and do stay tuning to the rest of our programming. See you. Bye.
We believe in fostering the leaders of tomorrow, people like you sitting in the crowd. And one of the powerful ways that we do that is through encouraging curiosity, critical thinking, and challenging of the status quo. And that's how come our students have been able to do things like building assistive mobility devices. They've been able to do things like building surgical lamps through locally acquired materials that can be used in rural hospitals. They've been able to build a ventilator during COVID using materials sourced right here in Ghana. So events like Sharks Quiz